What is up, guys? It's ChiefJammy or the Feral Potato here, and today we're back with another League of Legends commentary. It's going to be another guide, and you guys can probably guess who it's going to be on. Heimerdinger. The reason I chose Heimerdinger for this, I guess like champion guide, is because I think he's a really huge threat right now in the mid lane and in the top lane as well. As you guys probably know by now, I'm a top lane main, so that's on in this mini series, I guess, for the guides. I'm probably going to be making a series on this, like a bunch of champions that I can actually play decent, and I can give some tips and tricks on those champions for you guys. So right now, Heimerdinger in Season 6, or at least preseason, almost Season 6, he's in a really good position. He hasn't really received any direct buffs or nerfs, and honestly, that just makes him even better because the items for AP actually have been somewhat buffed and stuff like that. So Heimerdinger is in a really good spot right now. So it's going to be kind of like the Nasus one, Nasus guide. If you guys watched that video, it's going to be kind of like that. We're just going to go over the abilities, everything like that, from the basics all the way to the more advanced type of stuff with Heimerdinger. So let's check out the abilities first. Oh wait, I forgot to do this little thing. So okay, so let's check out. Okay, so attack power. It says it's like 1/3, 1/4 maybe. I think that's pretty accurate. He does have a bit. I don't know if any of his. I don't think any of his abilities scale with AD, but his auto attack obviously can do some AD because of what's it called? Because you need to hit them for the turrets to focus on them and stuff like that. So the auto attacks actually do come in handy. They actually do some damage in the lane to help pressure your lane out. So defense power. It says he's pretty high. I can see actually why they would say that, because if no one will want to attack you under your turrets, especially if you have this ultimate turret, the little apex turret down. It's called an apex turret, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, no one's gonna want to dive onto you or do anything like that. They're just gonna probably stay back, let their lane be pushed. If a jungler comes, honestly, that's good for you. If you have like Zhonya's or something like that, even if you don't have Zhonya's, if you can kite and use your E correctly, you should be able to defend off any attack. So I think this defense power is pretty suitable. Maybe a little less though. Ability power, definitely. I'd say this is pretty accurate. So his ability power, basically all his abilities scale on AP. So obviously that's why his ability power is so high. Last but not least, difficulty. He is a bit difficult, but I'd say kind of like Nasus, once you get the hang of his playstyle, his matchups, his counter picks and stuff like that, I'd say he should be around this defense power mark, maybe a little less even. He's not that hard, I wouldn't say. And he's really pretty good in solo queue as well, because of his team fighting power is just really amazing, and his lane bully is so good as well. And his ability to fend off ganks really easily. So let's start with his passive. Heimerdinger gives nearby allied H28G turrets and champions increased health regen. So this passive is maybe the reason why he could be a support. It wouldn't be good, obviously, because he doesn't really have too much that goes for him, except maybe the stun and like slow, stuff like that. But I guess he could be, because of this increased health regen. Champions get increased health regen. That could be actually pretty good in lane to help someone out if you're doing a duo lane. But obviously most people play him mid and sometimes top as well. I play him top, honestly. In my opinion, I'd say top is really the best choice, because that's where you're going to get the most melee champions. If you think about it, it's kind of logical, I would say, because if you're going mid and you're facing a Syndra or something like that, she's ranged. Most mid champions are ranged, like AP range, except for some cases like Zed, Yasuo, stuff like that. And they're kind of like rare now. Yasuo is definitely up there now, but that's why I would play this guy top, Heimerdinger top, because of how many melee champs there's going to be there, like Riven. People that need to get those first bloods. Everyone up there like Mundo are all melee. Maybe they have some ranged poke like Mundo's Q, but if you just stay behind minions and stuff like that, you should be fine. So I really prefer this guy top. It's up to you guys, but definitely try this guy up top. He works really, really well for me. So basically what this passive is saying is gives nearby champions increased health regen and his little turrets that we'll get into after this. So yeah, it's a pretty good passive, especially if you have a lot of turrets down. So okay, so his bread and butter ability is H28G Evolution Turret. It basically says Heimerdinger lays down a rapid-fire cannon turret equipped with a secondary pass-through beam attack, and turrets deal half damage to towers. So let's talk about that turrets deal half damage to towers first. So basically, what it's saying is it can actually deal damage to towers and inhibitors and Nexus as well. All you do is place it next to like the turret or whatever, or the inhib, and it'll actually attack the thing for you. Obviously, it doesn't do as much damage, and the turret will actually target it. I'm pretty sure. So it will. It's not the best strategy because like you do have to charge up these. You get like 3 charges maximum or something for your evolution turrets if it's fully maxed out. Upgrade skill ability upgrade, but yeah. So basically, this is like what Heimerdinger is known for. He just puts down like he can have a maximum of 3 turrets down at a time, and they just like basically they just auto attack. They auto attack shoot, and they deal crazy amounts of damage if you have some AP. And even with no AP, 3 of them is just a lot to handle. If a guy just dives on you and you one-on-one him, you're probably going to win it every time. But that's kind of the thing why they put defense power so high for him, I would say, is because you need people to dive onto you. You can't really play offensive too much on Heimerdinger unless you have help with your team, but solo you can't really do too much because you need your turrets, and that means like a Rengar or someone has to jump onto you, then you can kill them. But if you go into them first, it's going to be a bit hard unless you can bait them back or something like that, or put down your turret right as they jump onto you or something like that. But yeah, so he's mainly a defensive type champion, but offensive at the same time, if that kind of makes sense. So, kind of contradictory, but he's super fun and honestly really good right now. So let's get into his W. Heimerdinger's W is Hextech Micro Rockets. Heimerdinger fires long-range rockets that converge on his cursor. So actually, they shoot out I think 5 rockets or something, but they're really powerful if you can hit all of them. That's the catch, because you can use this to wave clear or something like that, but a lot of times people use it for poking in lane or in team fights when you want to because they do a lot of damage if you have AP or anything like that. So this is his main, I'd say, offensive ability. If you're not playing defensive, this is what you want to go for offensive. So try to know what his range is and all that stuff, how good his wave clear is, because this is probably his only wave clear ability other than this, I guess, but it's not really a big AoE, so it doesn't really do too much. Obviously, this thing's pretty beast, so I guess you could see what he can do, but I would say this ability is for poking in lane and for offensive use. So his last normal ability is his ECH2 Electron Storm Grenade. Heimerdinger lobs a grenade at a location, dealing damage to enemy units, as well as stunning anyone directly hit and slowing surrounding units. So that's pretty funny why they how they put lobs, that word lobs is just kind of funny to me. But anyways, so basically what it's saying is he basically chucks this blue grenade thing at your cursor basically, and if they're directly in the middle, obviously they give you a bit of space. It's not literally 1 point, because that would be insanely hard to hit. But they give you a little bit of space, but it's actually pretty hard to hit directly on. So that's why I would say this this ability is used for defensive as well as offensive too. So this is kind of a good utility, because if someone jumps onto you and they're auto attacking you in the same place, you can easily hit them. But if they're running or something, it's actually kind of hard to hit. So you could use it offensively, but it's definitely harder than to use defensively with your turrets helping you, beating them down, and then you can stun them with this, and then blow them up with some micro rockets or something like that. And remember, you still got your ultimate upgrade, which is an amazing ability, honestly. But yeah, so this is a pretty good defensive ability. It can be used offensively as well. So finally, his ultimate upgrade, Heimerdinger invents an upgrade, causing his next spell to have increased effects. So, okay, most of the time, on defensive-ish, once you're starting out Heimerdinger and all that, and you have Zonias or something, you would want to upgrade. You click R and then put down a turret. It basically puts down a super empowered turret, and it shoots a lot. The damage is insane on that thing. But the thing is, his turrets are kind of sustained damage. So he's not really like bursty with his turret. So you're gonna need time. So which Zonias can come in handy. You can Zonias while it's beating down your opponent. You can also probably stun him in the middle with your E or something like that as well. So this is probably the main thing you would want to go for with your ultimate. But let me talk about the other ones as well. Hextech Micro Rockets. This is an interesting ability to upgrade with your ultimate because of how hard it is to hit. Once you play around with Heimerdinger a bit and you see like how his abilities work, you'll know what I mean. But his W is actually fairly hard to hit completely with all of the rockets. You can probably hit one or two, but for all of them, usually they run out of range, or it's just pretty hard to hit all of them. So if it's like in the jungle, like if it's like right here inside of this corridor, like when you're opening up the jungle and like a bunch of teammates are coming through and stuff like that, or one guy's coming through, yeah, sure, you could probably empower this one because yeah, it does a lot more damage if you empower it. But the catch is it's really hard to hit, in my opinion. So this ability is kind of so I'd say for the upgrade. But yeah, definitely it can be really useful in some situations. This is probably the most damaging burst one though. Like it can deal tons of damage in about 2 seconds or even less. So lastly, this is probably one of my favorite ones to upgrade because of how much team fighting it has. You honestly don't really need another turret because if you already have 3 down in a team fight, if you put this beast down though and you upgrade it, it's amazing because it bounces 3 times. It's easier to hit, and it can, like I said the first time, it bounces 3 times, so it can hit multiple enemies at once. So like it like bounces, hits the Diana and the Jinx, and it bounces again, hits the jungler, bounces again, hits the top lane. That's like 4 of their team already gone. They're one guy we can just catch out, and the rest of them are like stunned or like slowed completely. So this thing's amazing in team fights, and honestly, it does amazing damage as well late game. So you don't have to worry about that damage. It can actually deal some serious damage. So yeah, that's basically what I want to talk about, the abilities. I really recommend this in lane. If someone like ganks you, put down this baby. In team fights, I really would recommend this E. At first, when I first started playing Heimerdinger, I usually only went with this and sometimes this. But I really do recommend this ability for team fights now. After I experimented with him a bit, it's definitely the best skill to go in team fights in my opinion. So, I guess it's kind of obvious what to max and stuff. Like I said, this E does some serious damage, but you wouldn't max it for the damage. You might max it for like the reduced cooldown or something like that, because its base damage is pretty bad. But once you have items and stuff, obviously it's gonna get a lot better. So for that reason, obviously upgrade this first. So max your Q first, then your W, then your E. The reason I say W before E is because you get a little extra poking power, and this actually has some pretty good base AP ratio scaling stuff. So yeah, it's a pretty nice ability. I would use this for the stun though, because this thing's amazing for stunning and just utility overall. So QWE is probably your max order, then obviously upgrade your ultimate whenever you can. And actually, let's go into the... I forgot how I did this order actually. Let's go into the Masteries. So let's make one right now. If you guys want to, name it whatever you want, I'll just name it Heim. And so we're going for you put some defense. So we're going to focus on the ferocity and resolve categories. We're probably going to skip this cunning category for now, at least. I would probably go for either one of these. Obviously, you don't need attack speed, so take this AP damage. Let's see. Should we get double-edged sword or feast? I would say this extra sustain in lane would definitely be a lot better. So feast is definitely the better choice of these two. So as of right now, we got sorcery and feast. Third slot, we don't need this lifesteal really in spell vamp. Yeah, I would say just go with this natural talent, and it helps you CS as well because it gives you some AD. So that's always helpful for any AP mages and something like characters like that. Champions like that, my bad. I'd say Oppress. It deals 2.5% increased damage. This thing's actually really good on Heimerdinger, in my opinion. Last two, Armor Penetration. We don't need that, obviously. Magic Penetration is the way to go. And Deathfire Touch is, usually the default for any AP people. So let's see over here. Health for 5 seconds. Bonus. We're not really tanky to begin with, so we're just gonna go with this to sustain and lane more. Plus with our feast, it should keep us pretty healthy, and our pots as well. Mm, you're not really gonna be in Bush and River too much, so I would definitely recommend Tough Skin for this one. Take less damage from champion and neutral monsters. Next up, Runic Armor or Veteran Scars. Obviously, like I said, you're not really tanky to begin with, so I wouldn't really say take this. I would say definitely Runic Armor is a lot better. And lastly, we can, let's see, reduce cooldown or base regen. Let's just go with this base regen, honestly. It can stack up on a recovery, and then, you know, obviously with Feast as well. So yeah, I think this is a pretty good rune page right now. Tell me if you guys have any tips for, I say rune, mastery page, my bad. Tell me if you guys have any different Heimerdinger, you know, but I think this one's pretty good for now. It's pretty nice, and it gives some defensive power as well. So you're not just like, you know, full like AP. Okay, so let's go into the runes now. Let's just erase this, probably. Like I said, I definitely need to buy more rune pages. So we'll start off with marks. Yeah, let's just go with Magic Pen, because Magic Pen can help you a lot in the what's it called, laning phase. That extra Magic Pen in the beginning, even though they don't scale late game, they're still there. They're just flat, right? But they can still be there, and they really help you in the beginning of the game. If they brought a little bit of magic resist, this definitely helps out in the early game. I would say regen next. I actually already bought all these runes for Heimerdinger, but I'm just remaking it for you guys. So put all mana regens, because he actually does get pretty low on mana. He's pretty mana hungry if you keep spamming W to poke him out. But now since we have these regen runes, and if we start with Doran's Ring, then we're going to have amazing regen. So we don't really need to worry about that. Next up, you could take a different, you know, some different options. Cooldown reduction could be actually pretty good, but I would just stick with the flat AP. It just provides that extra bonus in lane. Like I said in the beginning of the game, you can just push even harder because of how much damage your turrets do and your W. Again, E isn't really meant for damage until maybe late game, but still, it's not that good. And quintessences, I would definitely recommend AP. So basically, this rune page puts you at 7.8 Magic Pen, and yeah, I'd say this is a really good rune page for any you know, maybe it's a bit too what's it called, like Glass Cannon for like Swain, but it's still pretty good rune, pretty good page actually for any AP. I would say definitely take this for Heimerdinger. So, but again, if you guys have any better rune pages for Heimerdinger that you found better than this, then definitely tell me in the comment section below so I can change this up and probably update this video. But for now, these runes are probably my favorite and the best to use. So lastly in the video, the item set. So we're just gonna put this as Heimerdinger, obviously. We always do that. So Heimerdinger only. We don't want some random items on like Shaco or something. Okay, so let's check starting items. I would really recommend in top lane or mid lane Doran's Ring. Definitely, and obviously your health potions. Doran's Ring and then the rest health potions. And then Trinket. I don't know. I think I probably forgot this in the last video, but yeah. Get this Trinket. Always to start. Next up, those are your starting items. I would say that's the only items you would ever go. You probably wouldn't go anything else. So let's check out this first back stuff. So on the first back, it depends how much you have, obviously, but I would really recommend rushing this Zonias. So let's see what this builds into. So I would say either Seekers, if you have enough, you can take this needlessly large rod. I would say first core, definitely Zonias. Obviously, these first two back items go into that. And again, you can just mix and match these, but yeah, put in boots at any time you feel like you need to. So after you make your Zonias, though, I'd say the same item that you definitely want. If you guys are tanky enough, go this item. Rabadons. That's, it's pretty expensive, but you got this AP item that you can get. Just like flat 120 AP. And the passive gives you, increases your ability power by 35%. So it's just really amazing on any AP champions. So that's your first core. And actually, the other option that I want to talk about is if you guys aren't tanky enough, then you could actually go Rylai's. So Rylai's is a bit cheaper than Rabadon's. It does so this plus the Zonia's makes you actually bleed. So those are definitely the core items of Heimerdinger, in my opinion. And next up, I would say Leandries definitely help a lot. Plus with your Keystone and with your Leandries, you're going to be dealing a lot of damage over time with your turrets. Like, and the slow, it's just going to be good. If you can get to these items, you're going to be like literally doing so much damage, it's unbelievable. And you're actually going to be decently tanky. So next up, I would say Leandries and Void Staff for the extra magic pen. So these two, so that's really good as well. So I would say second core. Yeah, so that's basically all you guys need for now. And you could probably, if you guys wanted to, options. These are viable, I guess. But, you know, I wouldn't really recommend it right now, at least. But definitely try this out. This item's really good now. So other viable options, if you get super fed, obviously this isn't very, you know, what's it called? It's like high risk, high reward, definitely type of thing. I usually don't go, but you know, you can try that. And Morellonomicon is definitely a good option. But yeah, and for the boots, I would just say Sorcerers. Sorry about that. Yeah, Sorcerers or Ionian, honestly. Actually, let's put this over here. So Sorcerers or Ionian. Boots, Ionian, obviously, for the cooldown. If you like this video, it's Heimerdinger guide. Sorry, it takes, you know, it's not that short. It actually takes pretty long for these tutorial videos, I guess. Yeah, I guess, you know, kind of tutorial videos. But let's actually change this name. Heim. So yeah, I think that I'm gonna make champion. Like if you have a preferred champion that you want, but I'll try my best to show you guys my tips. You know, so but this is probably my build for Heimerdinger. This is my guide for Heimerdinger. You know, pretty standard AP runes and stuff like that. Masteries, you know, actually a bit tanky, but still doing tons of damage at the same time. So tell me if you guys like this video. For winter break, actually, I might be making like one of these every single day. So stay tuned for that, definitely. And tell me what champion you guys want to see. You know, like I just said, Udyr, Shaco, probably my other best two. Maybe Lee Sin too, Rengar, something like that. But any champions, actually. I played League for pretty long now. So even though I might not be the best, I still have experience with them. But again, tell me if you guys have any tips for me as well, because everyone can learn. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. See you guys in the next video. Peace.